Hi there. Um, we're going to try to make a very simple color wheel this afternoon. I'm going to show you how. And for those of you who have taken Fearless Watercolors with me, I'm Sue Bland, Poached Egg Woman, or perhaps those of you who have done art with me up in my art room where I am right now, this will be kind of like a review. But I figure you can never do enough color wheels. They're a lot of fun to do. And they're always different because we're always using a slightly different group of colors and we can play around with them a little bit. So I want to show you what I've brought in the way of supplies. I've got a piece of watercolor paper right here, and I've got 3 different paint brushes. They're not large paint brushes, and I've brought a little bunch of cake watercolors, not very expensive ones, but if you have tubes, you can certainly use tubes. That's what I normally use, but for this exercise today, I thought that I would just bring these. I have a pencil, and I've got a little cottage cheese container that I'm going to use for a few different things, and I've also got a little bit of Kleenex that I sometimes use to dab things up. And most importantly, because it's watercolors, I've got a really nice jar, a beautiful jar of water, clean water, and that's a very important thing in watercolors too. And so just put my brushes over here a little bit, and I'm going to start with my color wheel by making a circle. You could draw a freehand circle. That would be just fine. And in this case, I'm just going to use this to draw the circle, and then I'm going to use it after to mix my colors so that you can see me as I mix them. And then I'm going to draw a triangle within my circle, and I'm going to draw a second triangle kind of opposite ways from point to point, and this is called the Star of David. And what I'm most interested in right now are I'm going to label some of these in the 3 primary colors. So I'm going to label this one here yellow. It's at the top, and I'm writing upside down, so it's a bit challenging. Then I'm going to skip a triangle, and I'm going to label this one blue. And it's helpful to do this because you can kind of get mixed up if you don't label them. And then I'm going to skip another triangle, and I'm going to label this one red. And I'm going to start with my yellow by finding my yellow in my palette and getting some water and some yellow, and I'm just going to take that and I'm going to paint in the yellow. And I've got a nice sunny kind of yellow, I think. And I paint in my triangle there, and I'm going to kind of keep this as my yellow brush, so I'm just going to place it here for now. And then I'm going to take this little brush and I'm going to get some blue, and I'm going to paint in this triangle blue. And it's nice to have it be a bit translucent so that you've got a little bit more water than paint, and you can kind of see through. You can see through, so you can see how dark it is up at that top, and then it's soft down here. But you've got a beautiful blue color here, and then I'm just going to place that aside, and I'm going to take my third color, and I've chosen a very pinkish red today, but I have another red that's kind of like a very orangey red, a tomato red. This is something like an alizarin crimson, I think, and I'm going to paint my pinky red triangle. And just enjoy watching the paint come from the brush and how pretty it looks. And those are our 3 primary colors. There are no true primary colors. We often think there is, but there aren't. And you can actually do this color wheel using a whole lot of different colors, and you will end up with a different mixture of colors. But starting with these 3, we're going to be able to make a whole number of colors. And I think what we're going to do is we'll start with our yellow and our red, and we're going to see what happens when we mix them. So I'm going to put some yellow here in my little cottage cheese top, a nice bit of yellow, and I'm going to add a tiny bit of red to it, and I think I've got myself an orange. Kind of disappears on that plastic, but I do have a nice orange. What do you think? Do you think it could use just a bit more red, or is it pretty good? I'll add a bit more yellow, and I'll add a little bit of red. So we're going to mix. We'll mix on our little ice cream or our cottage cheese container top. Whoops! Now it's gone really red, and I'm going to have to add some more yellow. Mostly we mix in here, but every so often I get kind of carried away. And now we've got ourselves, a beautiful, vibrant orange, I would say. Looks like fire in there. So I just put my extra paint over here. So in between the red and the yellow, we've got orange. And then I'm going to take my blue, and I'll get a little bit of blue and put it here. And you can see how it just kind of gets eaten up. And I'm going to take my yellow, and I'm going to put some yellow here too. The thing about yellow and blue is that not all colors are equal. I'm just going to grab a little bit of blue and see what happens. Kind of got a green happening, maybe a little bit more. We'll paint that in, and that's a green. I think, let's see if we can make it a little bit darker. There we go. So it's kind of I would call that an olive green. But in the friendship between blue and yellow, blue is much stronger than yellow, and so you only need a little tiny bit of blue, or else the blue will overwhelm your yellow completely. So there's a nice green, and I'm going to clean my blue brush off, dab it in my Kleenex, and I'm going to put a little bit of blue here, and then I need to find my pink brush, and there it is, and I'm going to mix the pinky red and the blue and see, does that look like a purple to you? I'd say it's pretty good. Maybe it could have just a little bit more red in it. So I'm going to once again mix right on the palette, and I think that's perhaps better, and I'm just going to mix it right up. There we go, and we've got a beautiful purple. So the purple, the orange, and the green are secondary colors. They're number 2. And this is our 3-color color wheel, just starting from 3 colors, but we're going to make a few more colors. We're going to draw lines joining the tips of the triangles all the way around. And again, you can use a ruler if you prefer. And what we're going to do here is we're going to try to see what happens when we combine red and purple. And we'll call this color red purple. And so I've got blue here and sort of a purpley color here. And I think I'm going to need a bit more red. Let's just see what happens. It's hard to, let's just see. There we go. Maybe a bit more red. And at this point, I can't tell on there. That's looking kind of the same as there. We want it not to be this purple and not to be this red. We want it to be somewhere in between. So I'm going to, there, I've added a bit more of the red color, and I think it is somewhere in between. It's sort of a purpley red there. We can take that same purple and just add more blue to it. We're going to go in between, what's between the blue and the purple is a sort of a purple blue. And we'll see what we come up with here. That's very dark. I want to lighten it to see what color I have. That is darker than this purple, more bluey. It's a beautiful purple. And I think that's good. So we'll call this a purple blue. It's just got a little bit more blue and a little less pink than the middle purple. And we're going to clean off this brush, and we're going to have to make, I guess we've got a little bit of green in this area here, and we'll mix it with a little blue, and we'll see what happens. Just got the tiniest bit of green here. And we've got, this is a slightly darker green. I'm wondering if I add a bit more blue. Yeah, it's like a very dull teal kind of color, a dusty kind of teal color. So it's not the blue and it's not the green. It's somewhere in between. It's a mixture, and we would call this blue-green. And then we're going to get lots of yellow on our brush again, so have to make sure our brush is very clean. And we're going to, you can see the yellow there, we're going to add just a bit of green to this, and what we're kind of after is a lime green. So I think this is a lime green. It's a little greener. I'm just going to add a tiny bit more, a little greener than the yellow, but not quite as green as the true green, and this is a yellow green. We'll get some nice yellow again. And I'm putting the yellow right near the dot of orange, and I'll bring a little bit of orange over. And let's see what we have. We need a little tiny bit more orange. So, and maybe a tiny bit more, just a tinge of red, of the red. Whoops, that's getting a little bit too dark. And that's what sometimes happens when you're coloring. I'm going to add a bit more yellow. And we want to get, there we go, lighter than this orange and darker than this yellow. And this is between yellow and orange, and it's called yellow orange. And then we're going to make that a little bit orangier, add a little bit of red to it there, and we're going to take that orange and mix orange and red and see what happens. And I think I'd say we need a little bit more yellow. It's an interesting color. So this is and maybe just a little bit more pink. There we go. I don't know what color you'd call this. It's beautiful. It's kind of the color of the pussy willow stalks right now. I wonder, we just need a little bit more pink. It's not the color of this sort of red. It's a rustier color. It's got a little bit of the orange in it. And there we have our completed three color wheel. And I'm just going to show you that color wheels can look completely different when we start with a different yellow, blue, or red. And these are color wheels that have been done through the years. This is a really totally different one because we started with kind of an ochre, a rust, and a blue, and it makes a very different color. And here is another one. And so you could do many different color wheels depending on how many colors you have. But this is a great way to start, and I'll be telling you a little bit more about the color wheel and some of the fascinating things about it and the information that goes along with this video. So thank you for paying attention and painting with me. Bye now.